going to be doing with the assembly of adding a De-Trakor to the Trakor chassis. To do that, you'll receive a single box. You'll want to verify that you have all the parts and components in the box as you get started. The first thing you'll notice is inside of the box you'll have a hardware kit. This is where you're going to be verifying that you have all the nuts and bolts that are needed to assemble this, and you're also going to have your instructions, which will give you a list of all those parts that you need. You'll see a list of the components as well as the hardware included in the kit. We have the handle, and we have the De-Trakor itself with the comb is already attached. And our first step in verifying our parts is we have our brackets, we have our adjustment link, and we have our hardware bag. So if your Trakor has wings installed previously, or you just installed them, the first thing you're going to want to do is detach the wing set. We have completed our detaching of the wings, and we've unpacked all of the components and made sure that we had all the hardware. I've gone ahead and put anti-seize on all of the bolts and laid them out so that I know where their sizes are, things like that, so that I'm ready. We're now going to be looking to attach the handle first. We're going to line up the holes, and using the 3/4 length bolts, we're going to put those in and look to put the nuts on just finger tight until I get them all in and aligned, and then I'll tighten those up. Now the next thing we're going to be looking to do is to attach the brackets. Now what you will find is the mounting brackets, there is a left and a right that go on either side, and the holes will line up with the 3 holes that are on the side here, knowing that these 2 bottom holes are for the wings to be reattached, and there are additional bolts that have been that are a little bit longer than the previous that held on the wings so that it can go through the additional bracket. We'll be using those. When attaching the left side, I also have an additional bracket that I will be including, which is our locking pin, and it also has the adjustment or for the angle. So we'll be looking at aligning those, and you'll see that the longer of your bolts will go through. And what we're looking at there is this has the adjustment. Put the bolt through like so, and then it will go into the chassis through both brackets. Now that I have that in, I just have it finger tight for right now, as I have to put this bolt through the front 2 of this bracket. And to keep things lined up, what I would like to do is put in the 1/4-20s that I took off of the wings just to hold it in place. Okay, so we have the brackets are loosely installed. I'm going to make sure that I have all of these 1/4-20s in. It will help us to maintain that alignment. And they're all just finger tight. They're all loose right now. I have my bracket has been installed. Now, when I'm looking to align these pins, these brackets go on the inside on both sides. Remember that we have to get the washer in between this bracket and the De-Trakor pan bracket. And for us to be able to do that, make sure that we have this, the locking pin is lifted so that you can put the bolt through. Put it through just a little bit. Put the washer on there. And then slide it through that bracket. Now, if it's all loose, the locking pin doesn't have to engage at this point. That will allow us to just finger tight the nut on there to hold while I get to the other side. Then, when I go to this other side, knowing that I have to put the bolt through ever so slightly, put the washer on there, then I can align this, push that through, and then tighten, or just finger tight the bolt on there. If this was not loose, it would be such tight clearances that it would be very difficult to get everything aligned. So leaving it loose, but yet everything is aligned, I know the bolts are all through, will make that process a lot easier. Now, with all the bolts in, the locking pin is not engaged. I can move it up till it does engage. You'll see that it's holding it in place in a disengaged position. Now I can start to tighten these bolts, all the nuts. If at this time you knew that you had the wing set to put back on, this would be a good time to take these previous quarter 20s out, and I would do it one at a time and reinstall the wing with the longer that we received to take up the difference of adding that De-Trakor bracket. So I put those on, take out the other bolt. Now I know that everything is lined up before I start to tighten. Once I tighten everything down, it will bring all these tolerances together. But if it's already, the pin is already engaged, that will help as far as your final test of the alignments. Remember that needs to be snug, but not too tight so that it will not swivel. We want it to be able to swivel. Now with all four of these points of the strongest points of connection and the two hinge, I can see that I have that in place. Now I will make sure that my handle is good and tight. Okay. And before I tighten up the last couple of bolts here, I want to make sure that there is free movement and that I can also engage the pin. This is the disengaged position, and this is the engaged position. Now that I know that it's working freely, I will tighten up my wings completely, and that will complete our installation of the De-Trakor. So after we have tightened up the hinge itself, this will have nearly no gap. And as I look to adjust the distance, what I'm looking for is making sure this jam nut is all the way out. I am going to, and then when When it goes into the engaged position, it should snap right in. Right into the disengaged. Engaged, disengaged. Once that is good, then I will put my jam nut on and tighten that so that it doesn't vibrate loose. But you should have free movement to that locking position. Now with everything bolted up and I know that it's functioning properly, we have completed our installation of the De-Trakor.